Now at 5 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a suspect in the DeWitt County Jail is facing 13 charges. And one person was taken into custody in Arlington after reports of shots being fired at a car dealership. Plus, as the migrant surge at the border continues, El Paso is offering bus rides out of the city for asylum seekers.
We had a few showers out there this afternoon, still sort of rolling around. It is Football Friday night. We'll get a better track of where they are immediately. And then we'll be talking about the cooler weather coming in next week, so stay tuned.
As the government heads towards a shutdown, farmers in Iowa will be one of the group's hardest hit. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. James Munoz has the day off. Victoria County Sheriff deputies arrested 40-year-old Danny Ray Hendrickson Jr. earlier this week on a violation of probation. He is facing an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge. Hendrickson is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond. Senator Dianne Feinstein passed away at the age of 90. Opening the Senate today, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer announced that, quote, earlier this morning we lost a giant in the Senate, unquote. She was an advocate for liberal priorities, but was also known as a pragmatic lawmaker who reached out to Republicans. Early in her career, Feinstein was elected as the first female mayor of San Francisco before rising to the national stage. She faced health issues for months, but refused growing requests to retire. DeWitt County Sheriff's deputies arrested 56-year-old Keith Allen Kelly of Cleveland earlier this week. He faces 13 charges. He is being held in the DeWitt County Jail in lieu of a $296 bond. The Victoria ISD has been picked for a $3.1 million grant under the Magnet Schools Assistance Program. The Choice STEM Pathway project, fully funded by this grant, will create a K-12 STEM magnet pathway to graduation for students in the Victoria ISD. It will blend early college high school curriculum with opportunities for students to engage in job training programs while also earning post-secondary certifications and college credit. The Port of Victoria is receiving a grant of over $20 million from the TxDOT Maritime Infrastructure Program. The grant will fund the first phase of a rail infrastructure project at the Texas Logistics Center. Phase 1 will start in the first quarter of 2024 and take 12 months to complete. It will involve adding over 42,000 feet of track. In total, the port will receive almost $28 million in grants. And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, good to see you after, 4 days of sunrise?
Yes, you were busy. We're holding down the fort here, so welcome back. Well, folks, tonight it's Friday night. We've got our game of the week, East Bernard Brahmas against the Tidehaven Tigers at Tiger Stadium. There are some thunderstorms possible around the area, but it looks like there will be decreasing once the sun goes down. Looking for a game time temperature of 86. Coming up, we'll be talking about your weekend outlook and what it looks like next week, all in just a moment. Back to you, Karina.
Mac, thank you. El Paso is making an effort to stop migrants from overwhelming the border. San Jacinto Plaza has become a place where migrants wait to catch a charter bus out of town.
From
the very beginning, I was set that I was going to enter with the CBP One app. There's people that wait 2 to 3 months and get desperate, so they turn themselves over. I thought of doing the same, but my process turned around quick.
This Venezuelan migrant explaining his journey to the United States as he left his native country, Venezuela.
I'm happy because I have my travel plan secured, and I leave tomorrow to North Carolina.
While he may have his travel plans secured, that's not the case for most migrants that have been released from federal custody or entered the country via the CBP One app.
I would take the offer. I'm here with my wife and son. We came here to El Paso to see if they could offer us help.
The state of Texas's Division of Emergency Management is offering chartered buses to Los Angeles, Albuquerque, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, or New York.
I would accept the help to Chicago. I already have a job waiting there for me.
The city's roving teams have been making rounds across El Paso to offer migrants resources in their effort to clear the streets. It's something migrants are grateful for.
It's good for the people that come here truly to work because there's people that lost it all on their way here. They got robbed and got here with nothing.
El Paso's roving teams have been around since 2018. An armed man was taken into custody Thursday evening after reports of shots fired at a car dealership in Arlington. The incident happened around 6:30 p.m. An employee at the dealership said the suspected gunman was a former employee who was recently fired. A manager inside the building who owned a handgun told him to leave shortly after the two shot at one another. When police arrived, the gunman approached them and the officers shot the suspect. The gunman was the only person hurt and he was taken into custody. Now on to Capitol Hill, where the nation is just days away from a possible government shutdown, and farmers in Iowa say a shutdown would have a great impact on their lives.
So we're just going to look at some years here to see how our growth has been.
Aaron Lehman is a fifth-generation farmer.
We're in decent shape.
On his organic farm, you'll find
Corn, soybeans, some oats, some hay.
it's a family way of life
The crop looks pretty good, despite it being really dry recently.
that has withstood the test of time and the elements. But his farm could soon face another test, a federal government shutdown. If Congress doesn't reach an agreement by Saturday, federal agencies like the U.S. Department of Agriculture would stop working. Lehman says farmers rely on the USDA to provide critical market information, process loans, and oversee food assistance and conservation programs.
Well, I'm very concerned. It's important to us to have the government up and running and serving our farm and serving all farmers.
The Farm Bill, which is passed every 5 years, also expires Saturday. If the government is shut down, lawmakers won't have a chance to work on that bill as critical deadlines approach for it to be renewed.
But there's no guarantee we're going to get to a farm bill by the end of the calendar year if the government is shut down. So it's really worrisome.
Lehman says there are a lot of uncertainties when it comes to farming on his 500 acres of land. But the uncertainties that come from a federal government shutdown, he says could have been avoided altogether.
Having a delay that could be avoided just by working together, that's really unacceptable.
Lehman says the longer a government shutdown is, the worse it will get. He says farmers are caught in the middle of a political fight during one of the most important times of the year.
As busy as we are, we need to continue to get the message to our policy leaders that there's work to be done. We're working hard. We expect the government to work hard.
But even with the uncertainties,
we'll have to continue harvest as normal as best we can.
doing what he knows how to do best,
A couple of weeks will be good for harvest.
even if he doesn't know what the future looks like.
The federal government is set to run out of money at midnight Saturday, that's tomorrow. And House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's last plan to keep the government temporarily open has collapsed. The bill would have kept the government operations open through October 31st. And U.S. Congressman District 27 Michael Cloud, one of 4 Texas Republicans who voted against legislation today to keep the government funded. The Texas Tribune reports the legislation could have kept the government open, like we mentioned, for another 30 days to allow Congress to finish passing legislation for the fiscal year that begins Sunday. It would also have slashed funding for a large share of federal programs by 30% and added border security measures that Republicans have long sought after. In a statement on his Facebook page, Congressman Cloud said, quote, "The American people have been crystal clear. They are done with the status quo. I refuse to just keep kicking the can down the road and rubber stamp through another continuing resolution." This brings us to your viewer poll this afternoon. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen. The question is, do you know someone who will be affected by a government shutdown? Yes or no? We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Now, a couple was arrested for selling a cub and trying to sell a jaguar cub. The couple did not have a license to buy, sell, trade, or transport the exotic animals. Federal authorities say they are the first to be charged under the Big Cat Act, which was enacted back in December. It bans the transportation, sale, and possession of prohibited wildlife species. The couple sold one of the cats for $7,500 to an undercover agent. If convicted, they could get up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine of up to $20,000. The Texas Tribune has this article. Texas foster care system is under investigation for the multiple issues it faces, including high staff turnover due to poor working conditions and a lack of attention to the children under its care. This story is also available on crossroadstoday.com. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, Las Vegas police have made an arrest in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Also ahead, a state of emergency was declared in New York after a month's worth of rain caused major flooding.
Here's a look at what's coming up on Community Crossroads this week. We hear from an amputation support group. We also learn about the differences between home health services and hospice, and we also hear from the Billy T. Catan Recovery and Outreach Center.
Jeff Bagwell will be our guest speaker this year, and so we're excited to hear him. You know, he has a great recovery story, and of course, you know, he'll be talking about his times with the Astros.
A Las Vegas grand jury indicted one of the last living witnesses to the 1996 killing of Tupac Shakur. Dwayne Keith Davis was charged today with the murder with the use of a deadly weapon. Davis is the uncle of the suspected shooter and was long since linked to the case. He has admitted publicly that he was in the vehicle with his nephew when Shakur was killed in a drive-by shooting near the Las Vegas Strip. The nephew was fatally shot 2 years later in California. Las Vegas police searched a home tied to Davis just 2 months ago. The Supreme Court is revisiting the debate over whether governments can moderate online content. The court's decision to consider laws passed in 2021 by Texas and Florida could impact how social media and all websites display user-made content. A ruling could decide to have state legislation require social media platforms to treat content in specific ways. It could also make it harder for platforms to remove what they consider to be misinformation, hate speech, or other offensive material. There's a recall on cantaloupe due to the threat of salmonella. The FDA says Eagle Produce in Scottsdale, Arizona issued a voluntary recall of nearly 6,500 cases of whole cantaloupe after they were possibly contaminated with the bacteria. The cantaloupes were sold between September 5th through the 16th in several stores throughout the U.S. The recall involves 19 states and the District of Columbia, including California, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, and right here in Texas. There is a new trend going on in October called Sober October. Experts say giving up alcohol, even for just a short time, can help your health.
In many settings, it's become a social norm, but alcohol misuse isn't good for your health, and giving up drinking, even for a short time, could help you feel better.
A better sleep, reduce stress and anxiety levels, and it also can reduce the risk of certain chronic illnesses.
If you're planning a sober October, don't do it alone. Surround yourself with supportive family and friends, says registered dietitian Maria Meza Martinez with Orlando Health.
Just to make sure that you have not only accountability, but also support system.
It might be a big change for some. If you're giving up alcohol, Martinez says not to overdo it. Don't try a new diet trend at the same time or the latest exercise challenge.
We just do it one thing at a time, so don't overwhelm yourself.
If you're a social drinker missing out on a cocktail, try a mocktail instead.
We have everything that a regular cocktail would have except the alcohol.
You can also set yourself up for success by focusing on what you're adding to your life rather than what's being taken away.
If they see that their health is improving, then they can continue this journey past the Sober October.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
New York's governor has declared a state of emergency across the state due to flooding. In Brooklyn, a month's worth of rain fell in just 3 hours. The Staten Island Railroad and some northern metro lines are out of service. The NYPD says some roads are also closed. The state of emergency due to flooding extends to Long Island and the Hudson Valley.
We'll be talking more about the New York flood, which is really something amazing. Right about now, a pretty good looking Friday afternoon out there. Looking at live in Cuero, you can see the blue skies. There are still a few little showers around. We'll talk about that and talk about the cooler weather that's coming in next week. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Stay tuned. Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's a Friday afternoon. Lots of folks got plans for tonight, I'm sure. Right now, it's about 86 degrees. Temperature's been going up and down because we got showers, and then we got sun, and then we got showers, and then we got sun. Well, we got up to a high of 93, and that's getting a little Well, at least it's not the hundreds, okay? And we're getting down, hopefully, to the average temperature sometime next week. Once again, the game of the week today is East Bernard versus Tidehaven. That's at Tiger Stadium. There are thunder showers around. They will be decreasing as soon as the sun goes down, so be optimistic about being able to get to the game. But it is 86 degrees out there now. At 10 o'clock tonight, Crossroads Football Live will have all the scores from everywhere around the coast. So we have 4 big games, one in Shiner, we have one in Cuero, one in Victoria, and of course the one in Tidehaven as well. So where are the showers going? You can see they're isolated, but they're moving through quickly and they're not increasing. They should be decreasing. Once the sun goes down, we should be in real good shape for a good Friday night around the area. Observed highs around the region. We're looking at 93 for us, 93 in Port Lavaca, 96, and we're going 90s. Hello, it's fall already. Tomorrow we're still going to be in the low 90s, but there is hope on the horizon. There is hope that we'll actually get out of the 90s soon. Now, the story in New York is really something amazing. What used to be the remnants of Ophelia sort of combined with an area of low pressure, and you can see how narrow the band is. It was right on top of Manhattan and the 5 boroughs. And look at this video. It's quite amazing. There's the Brooklyn Bridge. There's downtown Manhattan. You can see how the absolute 2 to 3 feet of rain all over, everywhere, not just, you know, where the rivers are flowing, but just unbelievable. So you can imagine the subways are getting all kinds of water dropping down into them. I don't know how many are cut off, but New York is at a standstill right now. They are not moving around. All right, so what am I talking about cooler weather? Well, notice the following. High pressure is up here. Old frontal system will allow the showers to increase in the area over the weekend. And then we're looking west, folks. We're looking west. This is the first big Pacific storm. You can see even some snow in it for the Rockies. That dip will start moving down. Here we are on Tuesday of next week. It starts moving into Texas. And then by the time we get to Wednesday night, we'll see the big storms coming in. North Texas is going to be ecstatic with the break in the temperature. By the time it gets to us, it does moderate a little bit, but we will be in the 80s, and we're going to get some good rain with it as well. So the pattern is definitely changing for us. Here is your marine forecast. Sunrise at 7:20, sundown is at 7:13, so we're getting fewer and fewer hours of daylight. Water temperature is down to 88 degrees. So for tomorrow, Port Lavaca starting off at 79, getting up to 90 with isolated showers and increasing over the next couple of days, and that's for your Saturday. For Cuero, getting up to 93. So let's go on that 7-day forecast. We've got scattered showers for the weekend, increasing showers Monday, Tuesday. Frontal system starts approaching by Wednesday night, Thursday, and then all of a sudden we'll be in the mid-80s sometime next week. So let's keep your fingers crossed. That's your 7-day forecast. I want to remind everybody we do have a QR code. Scan that with your phone and put Crossroads Today on your cell phone. That's it from this side of the studio. We'll toss it way back to Karina. Karina.
Thanks, Mac. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at your stocks. Plus, Tesla is being sued by the U.S. government for accusations of racism. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 158 points, the S&P 500 down 12 points, and the Nasdaq gaining 19 points. Oil down 92 cents, closing at $90.79 a barrel. A U.S. government lawsuit claims that Tesla allowed racism in a California factory. The suit accuses the automaker of allowing repeated displays of racism toward black employees. Racial slurs were allegedly used by non-black employees when speaking to black employees. The lawsuit also claims instances of racism, taunts, and threats, including death threats, and says black employees who complained about their behavior were subject to retaliation. Tesla did not respond to a request for comment. The Justice Department has filed an antitrust lawsuit against a data provider for the meatpacking industry. The lawsuit accuses the data provider of sharing non-public information, allowing its clients, which include some of the biggest poultry and pork processors, to raise prices. The DOJ says the practice harms restaurants, grocery stores, and consumers. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, the State Fair of Texas is now officially open. And here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, with the shutdown clock ticking down and so many families and the economy possibly at risk, the struggle to strike a deal. What's really happening on the Hill? More Americans turn to the most watched program on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
The State Fair of Texas is now open. Mac, have you ever been to the State Fair?
Oh, I was a little boy back then.
But it's been some time then?
Yes, it has been.
Okay. I've been meaning to go. Well, it's now open. The gates open today as Big Tex welcomed fair lovers to the Midway and beyond. From rides to fair foods to the State Fair Rodeo, it's all available in Dallas until October 22nd. Other attractions include the auto show and concert. There's one big change though this year with security rules. If you're a minor, you'll need to be with an adult to visit Big Tex in the evenings and nights after 5 p.m.
And every year they have a contest for the best fried food of the year.
That's got to be hard.
That's the location where they invented fried pickles and fried Oreos and fried
That's where it all
whatever.
came from?
Yes, I want to find out what the food is of the year.
Oh, that'd be nice to see.
That will be fun. So that's another sure sign that the seasons are changing. Slowly but surely, we're going to get to a fall weather. Take a look at your 7-day forecast. It'll be warm. We'll have some sun. We'll have afternoon showers through the weekend. The rain showers will be increasing next week when by the time we get to Thursday, yes, the frontal system is going to be moving it down into our area and finally breaking the 90-degree streak that we've had since, I don't know, I was a little boy last time it was 80 degrees. So you can see with a little luck, we'll get some good rain next week and some good or better temperatures that are at least in line with, I don't think we'll be needing jackets or sweaters yet, but mid-80s sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
I'll take anything right now.
Anything
a little bit of
that
rain.
doesn't start with a 9, right?
Yeah, anything with a little bit of shade is where I'm aiming
You bet.
for. So before we go, are you a big fried Oreos fan? Because I'm not going to lie. That's not for me.
No, the fried pickles I like. The fried
okay.
Oreos,
Fried Oreos is where you draw the line. That's where I draw it too.
It's a little weird.
It's a lot, right? It's like you get puffy.
Too
and
much.
I
I
know.
don't think they worry about that.
I get you. Well, thank you, Mac. And thank you for watching us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.